what goes in one ear does not necessarily come out the other. It doesn't always happen that way. So today we're going to talk about 3 things to consider about beliefs so you don't unintentionally limit the growth, your growth or the growth of your business. Okay. So the phrase "I can," what do you think it can't? Let me be clear on what I'm saying. The phrase "I can't," what do you think of when you hear that phrase? It's really common in our society. So let me know your thoughts when down below. Let me know what you think about the phrase "I can't," and have you caught yourself using that phrase? Because it's really common, like I was saying, in our society, with not much of a thought. It just kind of comes out, right? But could it be more damaging than you realize? So I was really, really shocked to discover how much my personal beliefs were influencing my decisions in life. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome. I'm Debbie Dunford. As you're hopping in, go ahead and say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. And I'm with David and Debbie Dunford, and we serve and empower business owners and entrepreneurs to create a constant flow of leads and sales, harnessing the power of the internet. So David's kind of the backbone, behind the scene kind of person of David and Debbie, and I'm kind of more in front, camera on. So today what we're talking about is personal beliefs. Now I want to be really clear. Well, first of all, before I say that part, I want to know what you think of when you hear the term personal belief. What do you think of that? What does that specifically mean to you? And we're going to define that in just a second, but I want to make sure that we're clear and kind of set the expectations right up front that this is not about your personal faith. Okay, that's something totally different. That's not what I'm referring to today. And so want to be really clear on that. David and I are people of faith, but that's different than your personal beliefs about yourself. That's what I mean by personal beliefs. Okay, this is a definition of personal belief. Something one accepts as true or real, a firmly held opinion or conviction. Okay, so again, I'm focusing on the personal belief side of things. So something one accepts as true or real, a firmly held opinion or conviction. Okay, so we're not talking about faith, just talking about our personal beliefs about ourselves and how that influences us. Whether you're aware of it or not, you may not even be aware of how much your personal beliefs influence you, and that might be keeping you stuck. So if that's something that you could really grasp onto, that you're here and you're ready to hear, okay, so is there something that maybe I'm keeping myself in my own way? And you're ready to just jump out of that, right? Like that's not the person you are and that's not what you want, then this is definitely the live for you. So let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, I want to give an example of that personal belief kind of thing and how your beliefs influence behavior. For example, if you believe you're capable, competent, deserving of your dream job, then you were probably more likely to take actions. I emphasize that word. You're probably more likely to take actions in order to help you get to that point of your dream job. Whereas somebody that doesn't feel capable or competent or deserving may not try. So you're more likely to not try if you don't believe that it's even possible, right? So 3 things, I want to go over the 3 things that I learned that can help you, because these are things where personal beliefs can get in the way and we want to just move those out of the way. So first of all, what I realized is that beliefs are limiting. Again, it was something that I just wasn't consciously aware of was such an issue for me. So for example, the phrase "I can't," like I mentioned at the beginning, the phrase "I can't," that's a phrase that has started grating on my nerves a little bit, honestly. And I've started really paying attention to when my children say I can't. And my husband and I have been like, nope, stop that talk, because it's not I can't. Let's switch it. What if we switched it and we just said, it's hard. It's hard, but you can do hard things, right? So instead of I can't, it's hard. So there's a show that my family likes to watch, and it's called Relative Race. And on the premise of this show is that people are going out and doing racing each day and completing these challenges and getting information to an address of a relative they've never met before. So it's really cool because there's a lot of people that come on that have been adopted looking for their family, and through DNA testing the show's able to connect them. So it's really cool. But there was one team, again, so they have to complete these challenges. It is a race, and they complete the challenge and unlock the clues to be able to find their family member at their house. So these challenges, in this season, they had 2 different challenges that each team would have to face. There's 4 teams, and they'd have to face these challenges, these little challenges, like little game challenge things, in order to unlock the next clue. And there was one team in particular, the blue team, that kept saying, I can't. We just can't do this. Oh, it's just too hard. We just can't do this. And they would give up a lot. And so that's one place where I started realizing, wait a second, those other teams that are saying, oh, it's hard, not I can't, is making a difference, and they're getting through it. And the funny thing was, the blue team usually never fully gave up, and they'd get back into it, and they could do it. They did complete it. It was just their belief, right? So, and I used to believe, how this relates to business is, I used to believe that I had no control whatsoever over the growth of my business, over the growth of my team, because I can't make choices for others, which is true. I can't make choices for others. So what I had to realize is that I do have influence, right? That's the piece I was missing. It's not that I could choose for people, but I could positively influence them. I could provide them value. I could provide them, I could help create curiosity and just look at things from their perspective and try and help them out. And then absolutely that can influence them. If I'm doing something that's helpful for them, they might want to follow me after that, right? So there is something I could do, rather than, well, I can't make their choice for them, right? So have you ever got caught in that trap? Like, I can't make the choice for somebody else. That's not up to me. Well, yes, where that's true, you don't have that control over that person. And that's important. We all need to have our own control over ourselves, right? But we can provide value. There are things that we can do to influence. So that was a huge key for me. So the second thing is that beliefs are based on feelings. This is what else I learned. Beliefs are based on feelings. It's an internal perspective, and it's an interpretation. And sometimes those feelings and interpretations are skewed, because there's no real thought, or there's no real evidence to back up the belief. So, question for you: back in your school days, and hopefully this never happened, but it does sometimes, and it happened to me. Did anybody ever? Did you ever get called a name at school, or had someone tell you that you couldn't do something, or or they told you maybe that you weren't good enough? And unfortunately, that, in my opinion, that's just should never happen, right? But unfortunately it does. And it happened to a good friend of mine and a mentor, named JT. And he dreamed from when he was little, when he was young, of becoming a naval pilot. Well, he was told over and over, multiple times, that he would never be able to do it. He wasn't up to it. He wasn't smart enough. There's no way he could be able to do this. So those were people's opinions. However, they had no evidence to back that up. He'd never tried to become a naval pilot and failed. They had no evidence to suggest that he couldn't do that, right? It was just their opinion. And fortunately, he didn't let their beliefs and their opinions stop him. And he went forward and he pursued that dream and worked hard and took action no matter what they were saying, right? He did the steps that were necessary to where he did become a naval pilot. In fact, a decorated naval pilot. Okay. So again, it's his belief about himself that, well, yeah, don't tell me I can't do that. I can do that, propelled him to take action. Okay. And that led to him being successful. So the third thing is beliefs directly determine our actions or inactions, as you see from that example with my mentor, JT. His actions led to a successful result. It led him to that dream he had, and he was able to fulfill that dream. Whereas if he hadn't taken action, he wouldn't have been able to do and fulfill on his dream. So if we believe we can't, then we most likely won't take the action to do it, right? If we believe we can't, what's the motivation? What's inspiring us? It's got to come from within. And so if you don't have that belief, then 9 times out of 10, what I have seen and experienced is that the action won't happen. So what might you do instead? Well, be aware, first of all, of your personal beliefs about yourself and verify those beliefs with evidence. So, okay, well, I don't know that I could ever make it in this industry because there's so many people out there that are this or that or the other, and you're comparing yourself, right? Oh, sorry, my ring hit the table. But there's so many people that you could compare yourself to, and but I'm not this and I'm not that and I'm not this and I'm not that. But instead of that, what if you took a step back and said, okay, well, what evidence do I have from my life to support whether or not I can do something, whether or not I can set a goal and achieve it? Oh, well, maybe you went to college. Yep, I set that goal. I started college and I finished it. Maybe you went to 2 years of college, right? But what little successes have you had? Maybe you wanted to be a mom, and so you're a mom, right? Like there's different things that you've done successfully throughout your life in order to be able to have the result that you want. So again, if you have a belief, check with yourself. Does this have evidence to support it? And what I mean by evidence is what outside of your head things, like what are kind of some videotapeable things that you could say, oh, look, okay, yep, I went to college. The evidence I have is that I have this diploma right here, right? That's the evidence that you're looking for. So I know I have evidence that I can be successful, that I can put my mind to something and finish it and do it, right? So there's going to be evidence like that other people can see. Evidence could be maybe you wanted to, I'm trying to think off the cuff here. Maybe you wanted to do a lemonade stand when you were younger and you talked with your parents about it and you got those things ready that you needed and you made the lemonade and you put out the stand and you know, like that is you taking the actions to do something that you think you could do, right? Maybe it's learning how to, I like to, every once in a while, I'm not big into it, but I do enjoy crocheting. Maybe it's you want to learn how to crochet a blanket. Okay, well, so what steps do you need to take? Well, maybe it's just a little oven mitt that you first crochet. Well, what evidence do you have that you were successful? You have the actual oven mitt, right? That's what I mean by evidence. So focus on those verifying evidence pieces, not just what I think about myself or what other people think about me, but what evidence do I have that to support the belief, right? Also, being aware of personal beliefs and verifying that evidence, it can keep you from beating yourself up. It can keep you more motivated to try and do something and get something done. It drives behavior, and it drives your beliefs about yourself. Let me rephrase that. the beliefs about yourself are evidence of evidenced by how you present yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. So it comes out, it comes across. If you will have that belief in yourself, then you'll show up that way, right? It'll show up in your face, in your posture, and in your words and your actions. It'll show up. It'll be obvious to others. So in building a business, that it's important to come across well, right? So to have that posture, it could be really difficult for people to want to get to know you and have follow you, and you have influence over them if you show up with not so much of a surety about yourself, right? So again, those beliefs will shine through. So what I would challenge you or encourage you to do is to get vulnerable, okay? And I want you to share what one positive belief is that you have about yourself, and what is one maybe limiting belief that you have about yourself. Something that you're not sure you really have evidence. It's in there, you believe it about yourself, but it's limiting you. So what is that? So those are the two things: something that you believe about yourself that's positive, and something that's maybe limiting you in your pursuit of your business and your growth in your business. Okay. So again, what we went over today were just those three things to consider about beliefs, so that you don't unintentionally limit your growth or the growth of your team. So thanks so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.